The Zathran fleet emerged from the shimmering veil of hyperspace like a predator breaching the surface of calm waters. Their formation was precise, a vast armada of sleek angular vessels that radiated cold efficiency. At the helm of the fleet, the dreadnought Iraxis, a massive construct bristling with weaponry, loomed over its smaller counterparts. From the command deck, Commander Kurtal surveyed the blue-green planet below with detached curiosity. "Primitive," he muttered, his mandibles clicking in faint amusement. His second-in-command, Subcoordinator Thrix, nodded in agreement. "The analysis supports your assessment, Commander. Their orbital defenses are laughable. Their military vessels are scattered and disorganized. They have no unity of purpose. This will be a swift subjugation." Kurtal tilted his head, the pale light of Earth's sun reflecting off his chitinous exoskeleton. "It is always the same with these fledgling species. They broadcast their existence to the stars without understanding the consequences. Foolish." He gestured to a holographic display showing the remains of humanity's initial response. A lone orbital station reduced to a smoldering cloud of debris. "Prepare the next phase," Kurtal ordered. "We will demonstrate our power. Once they understand the futility of resistance, they will submit." Thrix hesitated, an unusual pause for a Zathran officer. "Commander, there is a discrepancy. Their response has been slower than anticipated. Minimal communications. No retaliation." Kurtal's mandibles twitched in annoyance. A sign of their fear. "They are paralyzed, unable to act. Proceed as planned." The Zathran fleet moved into a methodical formation, smaller frigates and cruisers spreading out to secure key points around Earth. Kurtal watched with satisfaction as waves of drones descended toward the planet, their purpose to sow chaos and confusion among the populace. The humans would soon kneel as countless others had before them. Yet, as the Zathran forces advanced, the expected panic and disorder were absent. No scrambling fleets, no frantic messages of surrender. Just silence. In a bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Eliza Carter observed the same scene through a wall of holographic displays. Her sharp eyes darted between the screens, analyzing every move of the alien fleet. Around her, the room buzzed with activity as officers and technicians coordinated responses, their faces grim but determined. "They think we're scared," Carter said, her voice cutting through the noise. "That's their first mistake." Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel stepped forward, his tablet glowing with tactical overlays. "The Zathran fleet has spread itself thin, ma'am. Their focus is on overwhelming force, but they've left vulnerabilities in their rear positions. If we strike now?" "No," Carter interrupted. "Not yet. Let them get comfortable. They need to believe they're in control." She turned to the communications officer. "How are the fleets?" "All assets are in position and awaiting orders," the officer replied. "The Hornet swarm units are ready to engage on your command." Carter nodded, a faint smile tugging at the corner of her lips. The Hornet swarm, a codename for humanity's most advanced strike force, was her brainchild. Small, agile warships equipped with stealth technology and modular weapon systems, they were designed for asymmetric warfare, precisely what was needed against the Zathran's rigid, predictable tactics. "They're underestimating us," she said to Patel. "They're looking for a single decisive response, a capital ship, a formal challenge. That's not how we fight. Let's remind them what humans do when cornered." Above Earth, the Zathrans continued their operations, oblivious to the trap being set. Commander Kurtal stood before a projection of Earth, his confidence unshaken. "Begin the planetary bombardment. Target their communication hubs and energy grids. Cripple them." A sudden alarm interrupted his command. The holographic map flickered, displaying dozens of new contacts emerging from the shadow of Earth's moon. "What is this?" Kurtal demanded, his voice sharp. Thrix scrambled to interpret the data. "Unidentified vessels, Commander. They're small, but fast. Too many for a standard assault formation to counter effectively." The human warships struck with surgical precision. They swarmed like angry hornets, darting between the larger Zathran vessels, their plasma cannons carving through shields with terrifying efficiency. The Zathran fleet, designed for orderly battles against predictable foes, struggled to adapt to the chaos. On the bridge of the Iraxis, Kurtal's composure began to crack. "Impossible. How did they evade our sensors? Where is their main fleet?" "This is their fleet," Thrix replied, disbelief evident in his tone. As explosions rippled through the Zathran formation, Carter's voice echoed across encrypted human channels. "Focus fire on their command ships. Keep moving. Don't let them regroup. On Earth, humanity watched the battle unfold with a mixture of fear and awe. For the first time in living memory, the people of Earth were united, not by desperation but by defiance. In the depths of space, the Zathran fleet reeled from the unexpected ferocity of their adversary. And for the first time in his career, Kurtal felt something alien to him. Fear. The void was chaos. Swarms of human warships darted between the lumbering Zathran vessels like insects harrying a predator. The Hornet swarm ships, sleek, fast and armed with cutting-edge plasma cannons, lived up to their name, attacking in unpredictable, coordinated waves. On board the Sovereign, Admiral Eliza Carter directed the assault with calm precision. Strike teams Gamma and Delta, push through their left flank. Target their communication nodes. Make them blind. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, stationed at her side, analyzed the latest data feeds. Their fleet is in disarray, ma'am. They're trying to regroup near the dreadnought, but we've disrupted their command lines. If we press harder, they'll fracture completely. Carter nodded. That's exactly what I'm counting on. Keep the pressure on their vulnerable ships. Save the heavy hitters for last. We need to make them feel the sting. Meanwhile, in the cockpit of a Hornet swarm fighter, Lieutenant David Hornet Ramirez gripped the controls with practiced ease. His squadron weaved through a hail of enemy fire, their engines burning blue streaks in the darkness. "Bravo squad, on me," Ramirez commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Focus fire on that cruiser's engines. Let's clip its wings." The targeted Zathran cruiser attempted to pivot, but it was too slow. Ramirez and his team unleashed a barrage of precision plasma rounds, tearing through its shielding. The ship's engines exploded, sending debris spinning into the void. "Nice shooting, Bravo," Ramirez said, a grin breaking through his focus. "Let's keep it up. They're big but they're not invincible." As his squadron regrouped, Ramirez's sensors flared with new warnings. A formation of Zathran drones was moving to intercept. He keyed his comms. "Bravo, we've got company. Evasive maneuvers now." The drones were fast, but Ramirez was faster. He banked hard, juking through the deadly dance of incoming fire. His squadron followed suit, their training and instincts honed to perfection. Ramirez spun his ship in a tight arc, lining up a shot. With a squeeze of the trigger, he destroyed the lead drone. "They're panicking," he muttered. "Let's use that." On the Iraxis, Commander Kurtal's composure continued to erode. The humans' attack was unlike anything he'd encountered. Their ships were small, disorganized by Zathran standards, but they moved with terrifying coordination, exploiting every weakness in his fleet's rigid formations. "Commander," Subcoordinator Thrix said urgently, "we must adapt. Their tactics are too erratic for our standard response protocols. We need to concentrate our firepower or risk losing more ships." Kurtal's mandibles clicked in frustration. "No. We will not stoop to their chaotic methods. Maintain formation." But even as he barked the order, another Zathran cruiser erupted in flames, a victim of the humans' relentless assault. In the command center aboard the Sovereign, Carter saw the moment the Zathrans began to falter. She leaned forward, her voice firm. "They're breaking. All units focus on the lead cruisers. Take out their command ships and the rest will scatter." The humans surged forward, their warships swarming with renewed ferocity. The Zathran fleet, so confident in its superiority, was now fighting for survival. Carter's voice carried across the comms, resolute and unyielding. "They came to conquer. Now we'll show them what happens when humanity fights back." The Talthrex emerged from the Zathran formation like a predator stirring from slumber. The massive ship was unlike anything humanity had faced before, 3 kilometers of gleaming black hull bristling with weaponry. Its shields shimmered with an eerie crimson glow, absorbing and dissipating the attacks of the Hornet swarm like ripples in water. On the bridge of the Sovereign, Admiral Eliza Carter watched the battle unfold with grim intensity. "What are we looking at, Patel?" Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel's voice was tight. "The Talthrex. Flagship class, experimental weaponry, shield technology we've never encountered before. Standard plasma attacks are ineffective, and it's already taken out 2 of our frigates." Carter's jaw tightened as a holographic display tracked the Talthrex's movements. It was methodical, a fortress in motion, cutting through the human fleet with precision strikes. "They brought out their big gun," she muttered. "Fine. We'll make it a target." She turned to her communications officer. "Get me Ramirez." In the cockpit of his Hornet swarm fighter, Lieutenant David Hornet Ramirez was mid-dogfight when Carter's voice crackled through his comms. "Ramirez, we've got a mission for you. High risk, high reward. You in? Always, ma'am, Ramirez replied without hesitation. Good. You're leading an infiltration team. We need that Talthrax disabled from the inside. Ramirez's grin faded as the gravity of the mission set in. Understood. I'll bring it down. Minutes later, Ramirez docked with a stealth shuttle in a hidden carrier bay. He joined a team of 5 Marines, each armed with state-of-the-art gear designed for zero-gravity combat. The shuttle launched, its cloaking systems activating as it hurtled toward the Talthrax. Inside the Talthrax, Commander Kurtal watched with renewed confidence as the flagship turned the tide of battle. Human ships fell back, their swarming tactics disrupted by the Talthrax's devastating firepower. Order the fleet to regroup around the Talthrax, Kurtal commanded. We will crush these insects in one final strike. Before his order could be carried out, a warning alarm blared. Commander, unauthorized vessel detected near the Talthrax. Kurtal's mandibles flared in anger. Eliminate it. The stealth shuttle evaded defensive fire, weaving through the Talthrax's outer defenses until it latched onto a docking port. Ramirez and his team breached the ship, weapons ready. The corridors of the Talthrax were a maze of alien architecture, glowing with red energy conduits. The team moved quickly, engaging Zathran warriors in brutal skirmishes. Humanity's close-quarters combat training gave them the edge, but the Zathrans fought with desperation, determined to protect their flagship. Focus. Ramirez barked as he led the charge. We're close to the power core. The team reached the core chamber, a vast room dominated by a pulsating sphere of crimson energy. As Ramirez examined the control systems, alarms blared louder. They know we're here, he muttered. Outside, the human fleet regrouped, launching another wave of attacks to distract the Zathran ships. Inside, Ramirez's team worked frantically. We've got a problem, one Marine called out. The core is rigged to self-destruct. If we disable it wrong, this whole ship goes up. Ramirez gritted his teeth. Then we don't make mistakes. Let's finish this. The battle for the Talthrax and humanity's survival had begun. The power core of the Talthrax pulsed with an ominous red light, each surge a reminder of the catastrophic energy contained within. Lieutenant David Hornet Ramirez scanned the alien interface, his brow furrowed as the clock ticked down. It's a dead man's switch, he muttered, pointing to the array of glowing panels. If we disable it the wrong way, it'll blow this whole ship, and half the fleet, apart. Behind him, the Marines formed a defensive perimeter, firing at Zathran warriors who poured into the room. Gunfire echoed as plasma bolts scorched the walls. We don't have much time, one Marine yelled. Ramirez wiped sweat from his forehead. I've got this. He tapped into the alien interface, the holographic controls flickering as he bypassed layers of Zathran security. His hands moved with practiced precision, the result of countless hours spent studying alien tech. Outside, the battle raged on. Admiral Eliza Carter paced the bridge of the Sovereign, her eyes locked on the Talthrax's position. The flagship was holding its ground, but the human fleet's relentless attacks had forced the Zathrans into a defensive posture. Status on Ramirez? She asked. Still no word, ma'am, Patel replied, tension evident in his voice. We're buying him time, but our losses are mounting. We can't keep this up much longer. Carter nodded, her expression grim. Order all squadrons to intensify their attacks on the Talthrax. Keep the pressure on. The human fleet surged forward, a coordinated assault that sent wave after wave of plasma fire against the Talthrax's shields. The Zathran fleet, disoriented and scattered, struggled to protect their flagship. Inside the Talthrax, Ramirez's fingers flew over the controls. The power core hummed louder, its pulsations growing faster. The Zathran defenses around him intensified. We're running out of time, Ramirez, a Marine shouted as a plasma bolt narrowly missed him. Almost there. Ramirez barked, sweat dripping into his eyes. Suddenly, the alien interface flared green, signaling success. Ramirez grinned. Got it? The Talthrax's core dimmed, its shields collapsing in a cascade of sparks. The ship shuddered as its weapon systems powered down. We're done here, Ramirez said. Move. The team fought their way back to the shuttle, their retreat marked by sporadic firefights with Zathran warriors. Just as they launched, an explosion rocked the Talthrax, a delayed surge from the sabotaged core. On the Sovereign, Carter watched as the Talthrax's shields failed and its weapons fell silent. Her lips curved into a grim smile. Now's our chance, she said. All units focus fire on the Talthrax. Take it out. The human fleet swarmed the flagship, delivering the killing blow. Explosions rippled across the Talthrex's hull, culminating in a massive detonation that sent shockwaves through the battlefield. The remaining Zathran ships, their flagship destroyed and morale shattered, broke formation and retreated into hyperspace. In the aftermath, the human fleet regrouped. Ramirez's shuttle docked with the Sovereign, and the young pilot emerged to a hero's welcome. "Nice work, Lieutenant," Carter said, extending a hand. "You just helped turn the tide." Ramirez shook it, his expression weary but proud. "It wasn't just me, ma'am. Everyone fought like hell out there." Carter nodded, her gaze turning to the wreckage of the Talthrex. "They thought they could break us. Instead we broke them. But this is just the beginning." Above Earth, the battered human fleet began preparations for the next battle. The Zathrans would return, but humanity would be ready.